In the dusty heart of Willow Creek, a sun-baked town nestled in the rugged plains of the American West, a young woman named Eliza stood bound to a weathered post in the town square. Her wrists were raw from the coarse ropes that held her fast, and her voice cracked as she whispered her plea to the indifferent crowd, "Please, let me go." The words hung in the air like a fragile prayer, drowned out by the murmurs and jeers of the townsfolk who had gathered to witness her shame. Eliza's crime? A simple act of desperation, stealing a loaf of bread from the general store to feed her starving younger siblings after their parents had perished in a brutal winter storm. But in Willow Creek, where justice was swift and unforgiving, theft was a stain on one's soul, and public humiliation was the price. As the midday sun beat down mercilessly, Eliza's tears carved trails through the dirt on her cheeks, her spirit teetering on the edge of breaking. Little did she know, amid the sea of hardened faces, a lone cowboy on the outskirts of the crowd was watching, his heart stirring with an unfamiliar pull. Jack Harlan was no stranger to the harsh realities of frontier life. A rugged wanderer with a weathered Stetson and a scar running down his cheek from a long-forgotten bar brawl, he had spent years herding cattle across endless prairies, his only companions the stars and his faithful horse, Rusty. Kindness wasn't a word often associated with men like him. Survival demanded a tough exterior, a quick draw, and a solitary path. Yet, as he tied Rusty to a hitching post and pushed through the crowd, something in Eliza's eyes, a flicker of unyielding hope amid despair, reminded him of his own lost sister, taken too soon by the fever that swept through their family ranch years ago. He had buried her with his own hands, vowing never to let vulnerability crack his resolve again. But here, in this moment, that vow wavered. The crowd parted slightly as Jack approached, his boots kicking up dust with each deliberate step. Whispers rippled through the onlookers, "What's the stranger doing?" But Jack ignored them, his gaze locked on Eliza. With a steady hand, he drew his knife from its sheath, not to harm, but to sever the ropes that bound her. The blade glinted in the sun as it sliced through the fibers, and Eliza collapsed to her knees, gasping for breath. The town sheriff, a burly man named Harlan, no relation, thank the heavens, stepped forward, his badge gleaming with authority. "What in tarnation do you think you're doing, cowboy? This woman's a thief, sentenced to a day of shame." Jack straightened, his voice calm but firm, carrying the weight of a man who had faced down storms and outlaws alike. "Shame don't feed the hungry, sheriff. And it sure as hell don't make a town better." The crowd fell silent, stunned by his audacity. Eliza looked up at him, her emerald eyes wide with confusion and a spark of gratitude. "Why?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. Jack knelt beside